Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the TIA annual meeting. My name is Søren Torp Larsen. I am the chairman of the Toy Industry Association, and it's my pleasure to call to order and welcome you all to the TIA 2014 annual business meeting. This morning we'll hear about some of the association's recent activities and accomplishments, and we'll take a look at what is on the agenda for the future. It strikes me as particularly fitting that such a discussion occurs when all of us come together here at Toy Fair. This Toy Fair, this show, is the pride of the industry and for TIA. As you'll hear from Carter in a little while, Toy Fair 2014 has shattered all records. It's the largest show in our 111 years history. And each year it continues to grow its reputation as a critical stop in the global toy circuit. I can say for LEGO, which I represent, our company, this is a critical event in terms of meeting both customers and creating customer relationships, but also in establishing and strengthening our media relationships. Toy Fair is the backbone of so much of what we do at TIA. Yes, it funds many of the association's activities, but it also draws the world's attention to the industry and showcases our innovation and creativity. These past 2 years as chairman of the TIA have given me a unique perspective of the incredible value that TIA as an association and a very devoted and dedicated team of staff do for our industry. I have personally attended a number of our go-to-market events. Recently, I attended a Brazilian-Chinese go-to-market perspective that gave me insight, despite we are a company with relatively deep insight budgets and team members that are focused on that. Even in a 2-hour call there, I learned new things about the Chinese and the Brazilian market that I was not aware of, all thanks to work done at TIA. Most of us hopefully have experienced the fantastic effort that takes place through our advocacy and the governmental affairs team. The TIA fly-in is always another key highlight on our TIA calendar. And of course the ongoing lobbying efforts that takes place there. Member education I talked about as part of the go-to-market events. And then last but not least, I just want to reinforce also the efforts that takes place through TIF, which is the philanthropic part of the industry where we basically give back to the needy children, both our products but also monetary contributions from TIF, which is an extended arm of the Toy Association. We have just concluded the first year of a 3-year strategic plan that was specifically designed to address many of the issues I've just discussed. That plan drove many accomplishments that the TIA achieved over the course of 2013, and I'm personally extremely impressed and satisfied with what the association accomplished over the last 12 months. As I mentioned before, the staff does an exemplary job, and I'm extremely pleased as a member that the TIA is providing true value, both to me personally, but also to the company I represent. These are the things that the association can do for LEGO, and this is also what they can do for you. So here to tell us more about what we have accomplished in more detail, I'd like to introduce the TIA president, Mr. Carter Keithley. So come on up, please.
Good morning, and thank you all for making the extra effort to be here on a snowy morning, another snowy Toy Fair morning. The toy industry, as we all know, has always been challenging, and 2013 certainly was no different. According to the NPD Group, as we know, aggregate toy sales in the U.S. dipped by 1% last year, and competition with digital devices in the children's marketplace has continued to grow. But I have to tell you that TIA's membership and Toy Fair data indicate that there is more strength and prosperity in the industry than some reports would imply. As usual, many of the companies and individuals have met and overcome these challenges during this year. TIA delivers resources and programs to help its members surmount the challenges you face. We want to help all companies, regardless of their size, undertake initiatives that they can't accomplish on their own. We want to provide services and support that will help you grow your business. What we're doing must be working, because I'm very pleased to say that participation is greater than it's ever been. TIA, alongside its members, has had some remarkable successes this year. In membership, 2013 was really nothing short of astounding. Last year, I reported that we'd achieved a record level of 602 members, and this year, I'm happy to tell you we've increased another 26% to 757 members. In large part, this growth has been due to a new entry point that we created for small, new toy company entrepreneurs. We offered a package deal for small first-time exhibitors at Toy Fair this year, enabling them to obtain membership and exhibit at an entry-level price. And now our mission, of course, is to try and keep those members now that they've become members of the association, and we're developing plans to do just that. Our strategic plan calls for us to grow the value of membership for companies in the toy business. And toward that end, last May, we added to our staff a new Vice President for Strategic Development and Member Services, Ken Ebling. Ken brought a wealth of experience and new ideas to add value to TIA membership. Unfortunately, Ken took ill last fall and has been out of service since then. We look forward to his return and to the renewal of his efforts later this spring. In the meantime, we've mobilized our senior staff to build relationships with all our new members to be sure they know the benefits that are available to them. We'll be visiting with them on the show floor over the next couple of days. But I also mentioned that our data indicate that there's strength in the toy industry. Our membership renewals are running 3 percentage points ahead of last year, and 42 of our members actually increased their dues levels based on higher revenues. 42 members, that's a lot. These numbers would seem to indicate that the rumors of economic troubles in the toy industry are exaggerated. Our Toy Fair data also affirm that there is strength in the toy business. At Toy Fair 2013, we hit an all-time high of 375,000 square feet of exhibit space here at the Javits. This year, I'm excited to report that we've hit another all-time high of 412,000 square feet, a full 10% increase. And the number of exhibiting companies also has increased by 7% from 1,080 last year to 1,144 this year. Clearly, there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who believe there is money to be made in the toy business. Now, the growth of the Toy Fair exhibit space can be a problem for us unless we also grow the number of buyers. And last night at about 10 minutes past 6, I got an email from our registrar, Joan Weish, on staff, saying that attendance by buyers on Sunday was up 14% from last year, and yesterday it was up 9% from last year. So we are delivering more buyers for more exhibit space, thankfully. Our strategic plan also calls for us to add value to our Toy Fair events, and we've taken major steps to accomplish that also. By now, hopefully, you will all have seen the new year-round web-based platform called Shop Toy Fair 365. That enables buyers and sellers to connect and conduct business online before, during, and after the trade show. This free platform allows exhibitors to create a virtual showroom where retailers can browse for products and place orders year-round. This type of tool is clearly the future of trade fairs. And if you just stop and think, if you're a buyer here and you visited 4 exhibitors an hour for 4 days, you would only see 144 exhibitors. We have 1,144 exhibitors out there, so that Shop Toy Fair 365 will enable you to do the rest of the show over the remaining 361 days of the year. In addition, we're out to recapture the international character of the New York Toy Fair and reassert our position as the global marketplace for toy products. It's no secret that all of the growth in the toy market has occurred in developing nations and not in North America or Europe. So our mission is to help all of our 757 members prosper by expanding into those markets. To accomplish this objective, for the second year in a row, we are hosting the editors from the International Toy Magazine Association here at the fair. We've doubled our advertising budget in overseas toy trade publications. We're hosting special receptions for our international visitors and have published a directory of export-ready exhibitors. And as a consequence of these efforts, international attendance is up a whopping 18% here at Toy Fair 14, on top of a 6% increase last year and an 8% increase the year before. And I have to tell you, the Brazilian delegation alone is up 72%. Our strategic plan outlined the goal of a 30% increase in international exhibitors by 2015. Excuse me, I'm proud to report that Toy Fair has already grown its foreign exhibitors by 42% and is on track to continue to expand global participation. Now, we start from a relatively small base, of course, but increasingly toy companies from overseas who are interested in the U.S. toy market, which is still the largest market in the world by a factor of 4, realize that the entry point into the North American market is right here at the New York Toy Fair. Now, let me stop for a moment and also remind you about PlayCon coming up later this spring. It is by and for the industry on topics that matter the most to people in the industry. It's going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona, beautiful location, nice and warm, May 7 to 9 this year. The new executive team at Toys R Us will be among the speaker roster at the event, and other key retailers will be there as well. And the keynote speech will be delivered by one of the biggest names in advertising, the CEO of Saatchi & Saatchi. So I hope we will see all of you there. Now let me tell you briefly how we're using our increased dues and Toy Fair revenues to benefit the members. Take a look at the annual report that you have there at your seats. You'll see that nearly 1/3 of the funds you provide us is used to protect the toy industry from unwarranted regulations and advocate for relief from unnecessary testing and paperwork burdens. This past year, we encouraged the CPSC in the direction of adopting test burden relief to reduce unnecessary compliance costs. We formed a congressional toy caucus with members from both sides of the aisle. We secured a congressional resolution designating the week before Christmas as National Toy Week. They finally get it. And we prevented the adoption of new state legislation that would have added even more burdens to the toy industry for no justifiable purpose. All of these efforts, and many more too numerous to recount, help avoid the layering on of new costs in the toy industry. Our Able Communications team also delivered extraordinary value to the members this year. During 2013, our Knowledge Network offered monthly webinars that provided valuable business information to our members on subjects as diverse as compliance with new requirements with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, another webinar on studies of how families make toy and game purchase decisions, and a webinar on how to mitigate shipment problems at the U.S. ports of entry. So you see the scope of subjects that we are offering these webinars on. All these webinars are free of charge to TIA members, and they're archived on our website for subsequent use. In addition, our communications team achieved particular success this past holiday season protecting toys from illegitimate allegations of safety problems. We call it toy hunting season, thanks to our counselor. And this year, of course, we'll embark on a new effort to promote the value of play in the lives of developing children and provide your companies with marketing materials on that theme. Our mission is to prove to consumers that the toy industry cares always for the safety and welfare of our children, and that we're dedicated to providing toys that will give them joy and help them to develop. Which leads me to tell you briefly about the wonderful accomplishments of our Toy Industry Foundation this past year. Our Toy Foundation delivered over $18 million worth of toys to more than 3 million children in need. We provided more than 250,000 toys to military families on U.S. bases around the world. We shipped nearly 70,000 toys to children being served by the court-appointed Special Advocate Program, which helps to protect them from abuse and neglect. And for the first time ever, we organized a Toys Across America event that brought toys to 500,000 children in all 50 states on one day last summer. The Toy Industry Foundation is concrete evidence of how the toy industry puts the welfare of children first on its list of priorities. Finally, I'm glad to report that TIA remains very sound financially. In a few minutes, our Treasurer, David Hargraves, will provide you with some detail on the fiscal year performance, but I just want to say that we ended the year by adding to our prudent yet not excessive cash reserves to protect the association against hard times. Now, as Soren said, we've made great progress in fulfilling our objectives during the first year of the strategic plan. In 2015 will be the final year of our 3-year plan, and it will also be the 100th year of the Toy Industry Association. The 100th anniversary of the formation of the association calls for special recognition of the efforts and support of thousands of individuals in the toy industry who've made the association what it is today. So we'll launch a commemoration of this anniversary with the opening of our new Toy Industry Hall of Fame, honoring many of those individuals. I can think of no more fitting way to commemorate 100 years of this association's service to the toy industry. Finally, I'd like to recognize and thank our team of executives and supporting staff at TIA who are the ones who accomplish all that I have just related to you and get to take credit for it. Thank you to all of my staff support. And I'm proud to have all of them as colleagues, and I believe our team is among the most capable and professional teams of any trade organization in America. And I also want to especially thank Soren Torp Larsen for his leadership these past 2 years as chairman of the board. As we all know, LEGO has enjoyed great success these past several years, and it's clear to me that their success is a consequence of the caliber of their executive leadership. Soren has been a wise and dedicated leader for TIA these past 2 years, and it's been a privilege and a joy for me to work under his direction. Thank you also to all of you for being members of TIA. Without your support, there would be no organization, and it's now my pleasure to introduce to you our Secretary-Treasurer, David Hargraves, who is the Chief Strategy Officer at Hasbro, to provide you with a financial report. David?
Thank you, Carter, and good morning, everyone. Overall, 2013 was another solid year for the TIA, and the association remains in a very strong financial position. Total revenue for 2013. Can we change the slide? Total revenue for 2013 grew 3% over 2012. Membership reached an all-time high of 757 members, with dues accounting for 23% of total revenue. 63% of our revenue comes from Toy Fair, which sold a record-breaking 375,000 net square feet of exhibitor space, which was an all-time high for total revenue. That's good news, but even better news, as Carter intimated, is that both of these records will be shattered in 2014. TIA's 2 major trade shows account for a combined total of 33% of program expenses. The External Affairs team continues to protect the industry from unwarranted regulations at the local, state, federal, and at a worldwide level. These activities account for 29% of program expenses. Additionally, TIA's strong financial position allowed us to provide significant support to the Strong Museum for the creation of a new permanent home for the Toy Industry Hall of Fame. As we look at the financials for 13 compared to 12, total revenue increased by $536,000 to just over $16.5 million. Total expenses increased by $2.7 million in 2013, largely due to the $1.5 million commitment to support the Toy Industry Hall of Fame, which was all booked and recorded in fiscal year ending December 31, 2013. 2013 also saw some additions to the TIA staff. First, we hired a new Director of Market Research and Data Strategy to create a program that was specifically designed to support members' information needs. We also determined that TIA's membership program and our philanthropy efforts through the Toy Industry Foundation would be best served if we separated leadership for each. This split in responsibilities resulted in the creation of 1 new position on the senior management team. Overall, investment gains in 2013 helped TIA achieve a surplus of $223,000 compared to $2.2 million in 2012. TIA's reserves, or net assets, when measured as a percentage of annual operating expenses, decreased to 69% at the end of 2013 from a high of 80% in 2012. This reserve level is still above the 65% target established by the board and well above the low point of 29% in 2009. TIA's strong financial position will enable the association to continue to add value to its member services. Now I would like to turn back over to Søren, who will review the proposed bylaws change. Thank you.
Thank you, David. From the Board of Directors, there is a proposed amendment to the TIA bylaws that has been submitted for the consideration of membership. And I think we have a slide that you're probably not able to read, but on the tables in front of you, there should be a marked-up version of the suggested changes. The intent of this bylaw change is to provide clarity of the roles and responsibilities of the chairman and the vice chairman of the association, and at the same time change the titles of the acting TIA president from Chief Operating Officer to Chief Executive Officers. The amendment acknowledges the President's executive leadership role with the association and aligns TIA's leadership structure with other trade associations of similar size and purpose. It's appropriate for us to align these bylaws with the board's current expectations of our future and present staff leadership. It's at this point in time I'd like to ask if there's a motion to move this change. Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Thank you. The motion carries. At this point in time, I'd like to hand it back to Carter, who will deliver the Board Nominating Committee report in the absence of the chairman of that group, namely Brian Stockton. So, thank you, Carter.
Thank you, Søren. I bring you greetings from Brian Stockton, who can't be here this morning. And the nominating committee has, let me say first of all, the nominating committee recommended at the board meeting last Saturday that we elect a new slate of officers: as chairman, John Gessert; as vice chairman, David Hargraves; as secretary-treasurer, Bob Wan; and the two at-large members of the executive committee, Shirley Price and David Allmark. The board elected those accordingly. The nominating committee has also recommended the re-election for a new term on the board of the following individuals: Jeffrey Kennis, excuse me, president of Enchanted Moments; Sam Harwell, CEO of Big Time Toys; Andrea Barthelo, chairman and founder of Think Fun; Shirley Price, president and COO of Funrise; Bill Beebe, managing director of Playmates Toys; and Bob Wan, chief executive officer of Patch Products. They also nominated for first two-year terms on the board three new individuals: Drew Brazier, VP of Sales at North America for Lego; Hugo Milan, Senior VP and President of Sporting Goods at Sears Holding Corporation; and William Toe, President of VTech Electronics. Do we have a motion to accept the nominating committee recommendation? Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carter. I'd also like to welcome to the board the new members and officers, and also acknowledge the two members who are retiring from the board today. On behalf of the entire association, I'd like to thank Jay Foreman and George Irvin for their dedicated service. I would, at this point in time, have asked them to come up, but if I can see better without my glasses, I don't think any of them are in the audience. Is that correct? No. So we will hand them their plaque at a different opportunity, but our thanks go out to their dedicated effort for their vision and leadership and support throughout their dedicated work at the Board of Directors. At this point in time, I would pick up my gravel and get ready to retire as chairman of the TIA, but also look forward to serving in an advisory role capacity on the board. It's been a pleasure to work in the last 2 years with Mr. John Gessert as the vice chair, and I have supreme confidence in the fact that he will be an even better chairman of the TIA than I've been able to do. So at this point in time, John, I'd like to hand you the gravel and wish you good luck. So.
Thank you very much. Well, and in my new role, I'd like to acknowledge Soren's activities as my mentor, as the previous chair, and if I'm not mistaken, I'd like to present Soren with a plaque from the Industry Association to acknowledge and thank you for your service. Hey, John. Well, it's been said a couple of times, and I'll repeat it again. I want to thank Soren for the kind words that he passed along on my behalf and for his invaluable leadership for these past 2 years. TIA has accomplished a great deal with Soren at the helm and virtually all aspects of the association's activities and programs. In addition to all that you have done for the TIA and the TIF, I'm especially appreciative of your friendship and modesty in all that you've done. I'm honored to take the reins from you and hopefully can continue the association's mission moving in the right direction. It's interesting, there's so many wonderful aspects of the TIA, and one I consider here I stand, kind of an everyday Midwesterner who just happens to be a CEO of a Smedium toy company, accepting the gavel from the leader of one of the most beloved and renowned toy companies in the world. This is just one example of how TIA's members work together, both large and small, and really try to guide our industry going forward. And really, bottom line is to bring joy to children around the world through play and through wonderful toys. So, as I've been considering the awesome challenge, if you will, of taking over for Soren and becoming the new TIA chair, tried to apply some principles that I use every day in formulating my vision. And then an important component of that is to set forth and identify the steps that we, as an organization, as a group of toy manufacturers, have to, do, and the steps along the way to bring clarity to that vision and really make it a reality. So, the first vision is kind of a two-parter. Further enhance the membership value for our members and to support the development and the new young incoming toy executives. As you've heard from Carter, TIA membership has hit a record high, welcoming in a particularly large number of smaller companies. As the association continues to grow, we need to remain focused on providing the greatest benefit possible for all sizes of members and all types of members, because we've opened that umbrella and included new classes of TIA members. The further success of our industry hinges not only on the effectiveness of the TIA programming, but also on the support and development of young toy professionals. Perhaps I'm biased, but I would challenge anybody who's walked the halls of Toy Fair this past few days to not think that this is a fun industry to work in, and there's just a little bit of innovation when you go up and down the halls. And I think that attracting young and cultivating young and new people into the industry is critical to the next generation of toy industry executives and, the industry's success overall. At the start of 2013, TIA launched a Toy Industry Next Generation, or better known as TING, a special interest group kind of focused on the younger folks coming into the industry. And I'm happy to say that this past year it gained some momentum, and hopefully that, along with some other programs, will help to develop the new toy generation of managers, executives, innovators as we come through. And we have to really think about what avenues that the TIA can do to help foster and develop that. Vision number 2, review the past success and changes and what we should consider to remain successful. And there's 3 main areas. Advocacy. It's important to think about where we're going, but it's equally important to think about where we've been and what we can learn from the past. When we consider what the TIA advocacy team has done or had been faced with over the last 10 years, it's pretty awesome. When I recall the beginnings, what I think of when I think of the original TIA advocacy group in Washington, I kind of think of a small, bland office with one desk and a chair that gave the TIA a presence in Washington. And that has certainly changed in the last 10 years. And TIA was virtually unknown on Capitol Hill. I was able to witness that during the first fly-in. And now it's a presence on Capitol Hill. It's a powerful presence, and we have strong representation and relationships with both staff, representatives, as well as people on the CPSC. So, you think about the last 10 years, over the last decade, we've really faced some of the most significant attacks on toy safety and probably on the industry that we've ever experienced since I know I've been in the industry, and that's been longer than 10 years. And we've come out and emerged with global recognition of a care and a resource and, quite frankly, an authority on safety standards that really protect kids and try to make play as safe as possible for kids worldwide. We've transitioned from being reactive to being proactive, and being proactive, however, is being active in reviewing the past to make sure that we're programming, staffing, and looking forward in an appropriate manner that'll serve all people interested and part of the toy industry. Events. TIA's go-to-market events have experienced tremendous change in the recent years. Soren, Carter, and Dave, I won't tell you how great Toy Fair was again this year, but obviously it's grown, and new records will be set in 2014. Fall Toy Preview hit a record high of 348 exhibiting companies in 2012, and basically maintained that with 345 exhibiting companies in 2013. But Fall Toy Preview has been, shall I say, slightly polarizing as far as an event that the TIA puts on. And, there's a large number of exhibitors that continue to consider it a very important and effective way to present fall product early in the process. But there are other companies that feel the Fall Toy Preview has become less effective. So the Trade Show Committee has initiated a review of the Fall Toy Preview to ensure that it continues to deliver the efficient and effective preview of member products in a timely and an effective manner, both for toy producers and for the retailers that we serve. When you think about the objectives, I was talking to Marion about this yesterday, the objectives for the Fall Toy Preview are essentially 10 years old. And think about the radical change that's happened within our industry over the last 10 years. So it's probably time to kind of, brush them up and take a look at it and make a few tweaks here and there. And then finally, philanthropy, the Toy Industry Foundation. I challenge anybody in this room to not admit that you had a aha moment or a lump in your throat either through one of the Toady videos outlining what the TIF has done over the past year, or seeing your toy show up in a picture, with the child with a smile at one of the military events. It's just a wonderful example of how the Toy Industry Association and TIF, the Toy Industry Foundation, have grown and developed over the last 5 to 10 years. Jean and her team have done a wonderful job along with the TIA staff. So, when you think about the millions of children that I think of millions of smiles that came from millions of frowns, or how it affected so many kids, 3 million kids this past year alone. But just as we consider how TIA in the trade shows and advocacy, we have to take a look forward and see what's next for the TIF and what is going to be the next Toy Bank program, or how to better leverage and utilize that as our philanthropic arm. So in conclusion, I'd like to say in summary, we've seen some tremendous success in our core business, and now we consider how to leverage those success stories and ensure continued value for TIA members and industry stakeholders in general. Had an interesting conversation after a meeting earlier in this week where somebody who attended said, well, I kind of had to bite my tongue. And while as an incoming TIA chair, there's nothing that's more appealing than a rather bland first board meeting without any controversy or drama, that's not really how we get things done. And sometimes those uncomfortable questions are the ones that nudge a board or nudge an organization in the right direction. So I actively encourage your input, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful organization to participate in. There's lots of committees, and I can tell you from personal experience and talking with others that participation in TIA committees and TIA events is a wonderful way to become better at what you do and to help the toy industry along its path of growth and development. So with that, I guess my second official bit of business is to adjourn the business meeting. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I got through two events, so there are two action points. So thank you very much for coming this morning, and have a great rest of the day.